So I sent a message to my son's dad inviting him to my son's upcoming wrestling tournament this Saturday. It's going to be here in our town at one of our local high schools. And it was just a reminder, because I had told him prior to this, like maybe 3 weeks ago, just to give him time to, if he needs to take off work, whatever, just a heads up. Hey, this is the schedule, and this one is a few weeks out, so it gives you time to, if you got to take off work, do whatever you need to do. Never really acknowledged it. So I sent him a reminder maybe like 2 days ago. And then, I said, hey, the weigh-in time changed. Initially it was 12, now it's 3 o'clock. So just giving you a heads up. So, if you got to make any adjustments. And I was like, hey, you can invite your brothers, because he has 2 other brothers. And at one point, Bakari spent a lot of time with his dad. And he still talks about his uncles here and there. And so, I was just making like a big event, because again, it's in our local town. So I'm like, that might be convenient for everybody else. Like the other matches are like pretty far out there. And I don't know what, everybody transportation is like. So I opened up a message this morning, and it was so disgusting and so rude and so disrespectful. And only thing I could just think to myself is like, you know what? I tried. Like, that's it. I tried. It is extremely challenging. It's extremely difficult trying to co-parent with someone who is not mentally well. It's difficult trying to co-parent with someone who has spent half their life institutionalized and not receiving the proper help that they need. I remember when we met, and I was very disrespectful to men because of my own things that I experienced growing up with men, and with my dad more specifically. And I remember his father kept saying to me, like, you need to go to therapy, you're so disrespectful. And I was like, you know what, you're right, I am disrespectful. So I started to go to therapy, and the more and more I, went to my sessions and showed up to all of them, I started to realize that he was part of the problem, that he in fact was a narcissist, one of the worst kinds, just like my father. And so now I'm realizing that my son is in the same cycle that I was in, and I am trying to end that pattern, with my son. Like I ended it with me by taking the initiative to go to therapy, and it's just really heartbreaking that my son is experiencing this. I remember my mom used to always apologize about choosing my dad, and she used to always be like, I'm so sorry, and I remember my grandmother always saying, like, don't say things like that, because you chose him to be their dad. And me starting to really lean into spirituality more. I feel like I've always been that way, but like religion was kind of forced down my throat. But I've always been like this mystical kid that would like look up into the sky, and I would get visitors from my ancestors very early on. So I always just thought outside of like this box, that we were in. And so just learning, leaning into spirituality more, I realized that we make these contracts before we get here. I chose my dad and my mom in this lifetime, and I'm learning why I chose them. And one of the things that I'm learning is to break patterns. And having a son of my own and realizing that, his dad ended up being like my dad. And it's like, now I'm trying to, figure out why I chose, I know kind of why I chose his dad, and, trying to figure out why my son chose us. I know that he chose me to wake up, because being with somebody like his dad and hanging around the wrong type of people, I started to go back to sleep. And it was like, once I got pregnant with my son, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't sitting in plant medicine. So I started to like wake up and realize that I was hanging around certain people just because out of convenience, because we were doing the same things. Like we were drinking and turning up. And, when I got pregnant, I kind of just spent a lot of time to myself. His dad abandoned me. He just went and did his own thing. And I spent a lot of time by myself. And so it started to like open my eyes. I started to wake up, again, and like just started to pull myself out of these things. And so, I feel like my son, he chose me and his dad so we could wake up. And I think that for his dad, because he spent so much time in prison, it's just, and he doesn't because I know people that have been in prison. Like that's my job. Like I assist people who have been just as involved. And so I know that, it at some point it becomes a choice, because I've worked with clients that they try to get the help. But I've also interacted with people like my son's dad who, they want to stay in that darkness. Like, I don't know what it's like to be in his experience at all. And, so I'm trying to be sensitive of that. But I feel like there's been so many opportunities where I even offer resources to him. My therapist even offered resources, and he just was like, no. Like, some people choose to like stay there. It's like they go into this, like I look at it like this, because I feel like I've been there before too. It's like your little girl, your little boy, or whatever age you experience something really traumatic, and you go into this room and you kind of just like ball up in fetal position, or you just kind of like put your head in your lap and you just check out from the world. I get it. I don't understand his experience, but I understand, what can happen to somebody when they experience something so traumatic where they just like check out completely. So I try to give him grace, but it's like, bro, come on. Like, please, like, how much grace am I going to give you? And, just going back to that text message, I was just like, wow, he's really not well. And it's just, it breaks my heart for my son, because my brother was the one who told me about wrestling, and my brother is at every practice. As soon as he gets off work, he's at every practice. If I'm not taking my son and nephews to practice, my younger brother, the Change Your Life baby, he's making sure that they get to practice. One of us are making sure that these boys get to practice, and then my brother, he takes the last stretch of it. He gets off at 6 and practices over at 6:30. My brother is there. My brother was the one, again, he told me about wrestling. He was like, bro, don't even worry about registration. I got you. Like, my son has such a village that is like so loving, and I'm so grateful that I have a brother that have sons, and so it just breaks my heart that my son, he sees his uncle interacting with his sons. And I feel like with boys, their confidence, like, it's like, when they have that male structure, especially their dad, because they can have male role models and male mentors, but it's just something about your dad speaking that life into you. And my brother speaks life into his sons, and our dad was not like that with us, like, at all. My dad was not like that. So, I applaud my brother for, not repeating that pattern. He's in that generational pattern and showing up for my nephews in the way that my dad didn't know how to show up for him, in the way that his dad didn't know how to show up for him. So, I want that for my son. So it's just like with my village and with myself, we just figure it out, because it's like, if I'm being completely honest, I'm tired of trying, because it's like you're making it about yourself. You're not making it about your son anymore. And then the things that he texts me, like, half of that shit is not even true. And it's also like, bro, it's the past. We haven't been together since COVID. During COVID, I was staying with him and his family. We were trying to save up some money. This man told me I could get out. He was like, you could leave. And so I was like, all right, I'll leave. Like, I can go to my mom's house. Like, I have a big ass family. Like, we always look out for each other. No matter how dysfunctional we are, we look out for each other. So I had somewhere to go. And my friends was like to me, they was like, yeah, bitch, don't go back there. Take your $600, because I was the one that was paying to stay there for all three of us. They was like, take your money and leave. And on top of that, that man was cheating on me with the lady that I got into a fist fight. Ain't never been in a fight in my adult life. Got into a whole fist fight with this woman, only for him to be downstairs while I'm upstairs in the attic. And I knew what was happening. I was going through I was dealing with depression and anxiety so bad when I moved in with him and his family. And I've shared this in other posts before, so I won't, be long-winded with it. But I'm just saying, that man, my mental, and I remember before I got with him being so vibrant and so full of life. And my therapist said to me in a session that he started to eat away at me from the inside out. And he did. But what he did not take into account is that I am very resilient. I made a contract with my parents. I made a contract with my family to prepare me for people like him, for men like him. So I'm very hard-headed. So I'll let you keep doing shit. I'll allow myself to keep going through torture until I'm like, okay, I'm done. And that's what happened. When he told me, trying to embarrass me, like, oh, you can get out. Oh, all right, nigga, then toodaloo, bye. I packed my stuff and I left. He thought I was going to be going for the weekend. I was going all the way going. And I took my $600 with me. Then his cousin started acting funny. Now you don't have that whole top attic. Now you confined to one room. And figure it out. And I took my baby and I got the hell on. And then when I needed to get back to work, tried to take my son. He acting like he don't hear the doorbell ringing. He acting like he forgot his responsibilities. But mind you, this is the same person when I was pregnant with my son, he abandoned me. He was out partying, out sleeping with other women. So I just say that to say, like, I'm good. After I read that message and he said the disgusting stuff to me, I looked at that message earlier and I was like, you know what? I am in deep gratitude for having the strength to get the fuck on and get away from him. I pray for him. You know, I'm sad that, you know, he's still stuck there. I'm sad for him, and I'm sad for my son. But I'm gonna keep showing up for my baby the best that I know how. Like, I got a village. I got myself. I got my wife. Like, he got a godmother. He got uncles. He got cousins. Like, I have a big ass loving family, and I'm just gonna keep doing what I gotta do for my baby. Like, that's all we can do. That's all we can do. Cause, yeah, man, I survived that, and I got up out of that. Peace, y'all.